enough because I might have to go inside.
It's a little bit hoppy. It bounces on a few words.
Okay, so that just answers the question then.
Well, good morning from sunny Cheshire and sunny Llandudno, is it? Colwyn Bay, Ross-on-Sea. Where do you go? Which postcode do you use, Mark?
We're Conway, if you want to be posh.
Conway. Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, we're live on LinkedIn. I'll double check on LinkedIn, Mark. I'm pretty sure we are live. I'm just flicking over to LinkedIn. Yeah, I can see that we're live there, Mark. That's wonderful. We're in
Amazing.
business. Yeah, great.
Yeah, welcome to this live. Good morning, Debbie. Great to see you here. Anybody else on the stream, just drop a comment in. It'll be good to see who's with us this morning. Feel free to ask any questions, and Matt and I will be talking into, one of our passions is mental performance and winning the inner game. And for me, the last week, I've had to win the inner game.
Tell me about it,
yeah,
Mark.
I've had to really win the inner game. And so what I'm really excited about is bringing more of these lessons, these insights that we both go through, because we share it, because you're my wingman and I'm your wingman. We share these ups and downs that we go through. And what's going to be amazing is bringing all of this together on the 22nd of June in Knutsford, where Matt and I are running a really unique event, like so unique that Kate McNally, nice to see you. Haven't seen you for ages.
Best lifers.
Yeah. So so a really unique event in Knutsford, where we are bringing what we do in the business world, what we do coaching our clients into nature, and then interweaving those two parts of our life, because we are nature. We are 100% nature. Whenever I'm looking to ask myself a question in line with how do I overcome one of my biggest challenges is recovering from a terminal illness, and one of my questions I always go to is what is nature telling me, and so the beauty of what Matt's inspired and said, let's create this, and I was like, yeah, all in, was to bring what we do into nature, and I cannot wait. Matt, how do you feel about it?
Well, I feel amazing. I mean, to credit where credit's due, Mark. What you've been doing inspired me to make this suggestion, only because through the network that you've created with a men's entrepreneur network, and that day that we had in Wales was so special. I don't know if it was the base of Snowdonia, but it was around that area, wasn't it, where we met at Snowdonia Bikes. And there was about 10 men, and we got on electric bikes, climbed hills, dived in cold lakes, had a cacao ceremony that you put on for us, breath work, meditation, and just a real connection. I thought, you really just can't replace that experience of connection. And you and I are so virtual on a day-to-day basis. We spend so much time on Zoom and on calls, that we've almost lost that connection with ourselves and with nature. And having spent some time over at the farm club, maybe on the sort of 5 or 6 occasions, but become quite close with David Seed, who's one of the lead facilitators there on the breathwork and cold therapy, shall we say. I thought, why don't we just run an event in Cheshire? It's a great area, it's a great hub, it's easy to get to. It's acres and acres. I mean, it must be 30 or 40 acres of land. It's serene, and it's also a triathlon centre or a triathlete centre. So they do open water swimming there. So they kind of develop athletes there, the biking and the running and so on. So I thought, what a perfect environment to bring together the people that we're coaching And as for people who want to have a taste of our coaching, but don't necessarily feel they're in a place to commit to a 12-month program just yet, come and spend the day with us.
Or a
I
3
know
month.
it'll be a special day. Yeah, or 3 months. There'll be, it's going to be really special, really powerful. And something new always happens when we get together. And I just know that there'll be something that everybody takes away that'll be completely different. And
Yeah.
really, really powerful. And I started thinking into the day, as I'm sure you have as well, and we'll be collaborating those ideas to put together the most amazing sessions.
Yeah. Well, I thought this morning, as we're having a coffee or a green juice or whatever you're drinking this morning, or some water.
Yeah, a bit of everything.
Yeah. Something that came to me amidst my challenge, and over the last 6 months, I've experienced PTSD, and mental health is such an important mental health or mindset or psychological well-being is such an important subject. And, I think the last 7 years has finally caught up with me. And despite all the work I've done, and the epic adventures that I've been on, the spiritual work, the emotional work, I have to say that PTSD has finally caught up with me. So it's really interesting for me to try and wrap my head around how that has become a thing, because it's almost like the trauma is created by the hospital, and there is a reason why I'm sharing this today. Is one of the things I always manage to do somehow is stay in action. Okay. And one of the things that I always bring my mind back to, especially when I'm in this really heightened, really heightened state of physical stress, like it's just my body responding to what is potentially happening, and my mind can control it to a degree, but it's just residual energy that's just flowing so vibrantly, voraciously in my body. And if I don't control my mind runs off into every possible negative scenario that could come as a consequence. And so through this challenging week, because I had a bone marrow biopsy on Thursday, and I was so anxious about what was coming and about how I felt, because I think the physical symptoms of PTSD is that, like, I had night sweats. I found it difficult to sleeping. I lost weight last weekend. And so I was just thinking, oh my God, it's the leukemia coming back ferociously. And there's a reason for that, is because on Friday, a massive event happened the week last Friday, which was my oncologist sharing something with me that I was not expecting. Plus I had a dip in a result in my blood. So Mark's attention antenna was like, what the fuck's that? Why has that happened? And so, all I wanted to do was go and get the data to confirm that it was just a blip, a one-off. But I was going to have to wait till the following Thursday for that to happen. And it's almost like I could not allow that to be a thing. So despite how much meditation I did, despite how much breath work and emotional release shaking or whatever I did, it was just too much to burden, to the point that I nearly took myself to hospital on emergency line on Wednesday night. That's where I was mentally, physically. And then on Thursday night, 6 o'clock, Wednesday night, 6 o'clock, I phoned the hospital 10 to 6. I was like, can you get me in first thing in the morning? And they were like, yes, no problem at all. Come here at 8 o'clock. I'm in. So off I trooped up to Manchester, and the anxiety of waiting for the results, I have to say, was, you're just sitting there. I took a call at 11 o'clock. I had my blood at 10 at the end, because initially my veins wouldn't give blood. I was just like, what's going on? So I had to go but this is how being resourceful is so important. So I literally legged it. I looked on my phone, health food shop, because I was like, let me go somewhere I love. So I found a local health food shop. Anyway, beautiful woman helped me with a load of stuff, and I was like, right, this is amazing. So so I ran back. It was about a 15-minute run. So I ran back to the hospital, got my bloods, and they drew my bloods, and then an hour later, they were okay. So everything I thought could have happened didn't happen. Yeah. However, the blood is one part of the jigsaw. The bone marrow, in my case, with the blood cancer, is the other part of the jigsaw. So what they do is when they analyze the blood, they just get the headline results, and then they can do a smear test to have a look to see what they can see. But the blood is like way down the line from the factory, which is the bone marrow, because the bone marrow produces the blood and the immune system. All right. So then I was like, well, have a look under the microscope. And they said, well, they don't need to do it because the blood's okay. I was like, fuck, thank God for that. That was the first thing I did on Thursday, was check the smear test. Then I had to go for this very painful bone marrow biopsy. So they dig into your back and then suck the bone marrow out of the middle of the bone. So when you see a bone, they had to get in there to suck out the bone marrow. And anyway, Friday, I just took the courage, emailed my oncologist, said, send me the results as soon as you have it, because they do an initial test and then they send it off to a lab to do a further analysis. Imagine my level of stress waiting for this. But by this time, I'd had a bit more centeredness. But even today, I can still feel excess energy shifting in my body. But the good news is I got the result about 3 o'clock whilst I was on the phone to Matt. And I was like, the initial result was remission. So everything I'd experienced for a whole week and a half was all psychosomatic. And so, yeah, one of my next leading questions is, okay, who in my team can help me understand the effects of PTSD more, and what are the practices that I don't know or I haven't done or normally don't do that can help me manage this energy? What are the products I can have? What are the strategies I can do to remove the stress that is created? So caffeine is number one, is one of the main things. Drinking chamomile tea really down regulate the nervous system. Not doing excessive breath work, doing autonomic reset breath work. So these are all strategies. Getting body work by someone else. So really, I asked a friend on Wednesday night who took me for a walk. I said, look, can you just work with my body and allow me to shift some unnecessary energy? And he did that for me. So having these lifestyle medicine tools are as important, depending on what we're challenging with, because you might be in a high stakes game in business, and how you manage your energy and your emotions is everything. And so that's what I'm really excited to bring to the Inner Game, the Mental Performance Workshop Masterclass on the 22nd of June in Knutsford, So Matt and I had a little mini celebration on our phone call last night just to celebrate that. So really, really excited to get everybody together.
Amazing share. And I'll just I think that was amazing. And last few days, I don't know if anybody's seen. I mean, so as a child of the 80s, growing up, I guess one of the things that we did when we were kids, I don't know about you, Mark, was really interested in the gym and things like that, and training. It was that kind of just come off the back of the golden era of bodybuilding, the Arnold Schwarzeneggers, Lou Ferrigno's, and all these kind of guys. And there was a famous film called Pumping Iron. Do you remember it? Do you remember Pumping Iron? It's a sort of docu film about following the golden era of bodybuilding in 1975. Most famously, Arnold Schwarzenegger's final Mr. Olympia bout. And anyway, long story short, Arnold has just had a Netflix docuseries, 3-part docuseries filmed about his life, and it goes from the athlete is the first hour, The second hour is the movie star, the movies, or the actor, sorry, athlete, actor, and then the third is the politician, the governor. And it's an amazing story. I won't spoil it too much. It's incredible, right? It's incredible. And
what were your biggest insights?
His mindset was completely bulletproof. He is the Terminator. And the biggest thing that came through for me, it was a question when the interviewer said, "So what did you think if it was? What would you have done if it all went wrong?" And he said, "It wasn't in my vision for it to go wrong." So his vision was so powerful. He saw himself. He left Austria to go to America because Austria wasn't the environment for him to become the guy that he wanted to be. He idolized Hercules, Reg Park from Leeds, actually, funny enough, my home city. He idolized Reg Park, who was Mr. Universe. He later went on to be invited to Reg Park's house to be his mentor. He later got invited to the US to work with Joe Weider, who's the biggest media mogul within bodybuilding. He visualized his victory. He went on to beat Reg Park on stage. He then dominated the bodybuilding scene to a point where he wanted to do something else, and he visualized becoming an actor. And he got on the phone to one of the famous movie producers, and they said, "You accent, very thick Austrian accent. The look, the muscles. It's very not typical." Steve McQueen was the kind of typical actor at that time. Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, these kind of guys. So a brute force Arnold coming along, and they said, "Why do you want to become an actor, Arnold?" He said, "I don't want to become an actor. I want to become a star." And he didn't just want to be another character actor. He wanted to be a star. And he later manifested that into his life to become the governor of California, which California, for those of you who don't know, if you've watched the docuseries, there's 40 million people in California. It's like the UK. He was basically the leader of the UK. 40 million people in one state. That's insane, isn't it? And he brought that into his life through vision. So the most powerful thing that I took from the series was his vision was so strong. And it reminds me of you, and it reminds me of me when our vision was so strong to achieve a goal that it just happened. And I often question how strong my vision is around certain things. And I've started to test it now and create new visions of a new reality that I want to create. And
I think that's important.
I think that's powerful.
Yeah, I think that's important in relationships.
Yeah.
Convergence of vision. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so spending time on the vision work is extremely important. We dedicated a whole day on a mastermind elite training thing I did. And yeah, I think that's important, massively important, because we have a vision for our health, we have a vision for our business, we have a vision for our intimate relationship, we have a vision. King Richard had a vision for the Serena Williams sisters, and so something that came to me over the last few days, over the last week, is how to get out of the void, or how to create the life that you desire, how to live in your full potential. And there's always going to be ups and downs. And so the first thing, so I imagined this word called void, and the void is, the V is here in the top part of my body. The O is, say, here is voice, heart. Yeah. So it's like in alignment with the chakras. Yeah. Intuition is my gut. Intuition and intention. So not forgetting the gut and our own internal compass. And then the D is for discipline and drive. So that's the lower chakras. That's the powerful life force energy that is the procreation of all human evolution. you know. So it was really interesting that word void, how to get out of the void, is cultivating and harnessing that energy, which is exactly what Joe Dispenza does, up from your lower chakras, clearing the blockages in the energy centers that might be holding us back. And so that's one of his really important piece of work. But that doesn't come without creating stillness and grounding. So it's also earthing ourselves, really stepping into Mother Earth as it is. So we need that masculine presence. So if you read From the Core with John Wineland, it's really about how to cultivate masculine energy. This is not for men, this is for men and women, because my natural energy is massive upflow. So when I learned that I needed to learn how to ground myself, so doing a warrior stance for extended periods of time is good for grounding. The way we breathe and direct the energy around our body is important for grounding. So that was a really powerful acronym that came to me, is how can I get out of this void? I just meditated on my vision, which is healthy, fully healed 2023. You know, that was the one element of my vision that I was really focusing on. And then from that, everything else stems: my family, my wealth, my adventure, being in nature. So everything else stems from that one primary vision for this year. So anyway, there we go.
No, it's really positive. No, and do you know what? I just want to share with Debbie as well, just while she's in here, that Arnold's vision and my vision in sport as well was, I never had a vision board, and I don't believe that Arnold had a vision board, but it was a very, very clear mental picture of where you're going. So the vision boards are great, Debbie, but what I find is I'm incredibly good at creating vision boards. You know, I'll create them until the cows come home. But what's really important is aligning a real picture in your mind's eye of that vision. So it's all right putting it down on paper and saying I've done a vision board, and I'm not discrediting the power of a vision board. But beyond that, how can I create that into existence? And I'm not talking fluffy. I'm saying, how can I actually see myself doing that? And if you can't see yourself doing it, you've just used a piece of paper. You know, you've just spent a piece of paper putting what you think is down. If you can see it and then, you know, really believe what you're putting on paper, you can really generate some momentum. I think the powerful shift for you there, Debbie, will be to move it from, yes, if that vision is the reality that you want, how can I turn it into 3D, 4D, you know, a 4DX experience where you can see yourself actually wherever you want to be, wherever you say you want to be, because then you're adding some emotion and some context and some theatre as well to the vision, which I think is really important. I can see myself on the 22nd with you walking down the hill, Mark. Nobody knows about this hill yet. As we go off the pontoon into the lake, I can see it like it's happening, or it's happened already.
I've been to the farm club.
Amazing. You know the hill?
I went there to have my first ever bike fit with Total Try Training, whatever they're called. So I went there and I met one of the owners because I asked to do a workout because they were fitting Callum's bike. So I got to cycle next to one of the owners on their watt bikes in there, just next to the cafe.
Amazing. That's an amazing place. So it's crazy how everything just comes back, not just, but it's incredibly important to remember that we create, from what you said here this morning, and I've been writing down lots of notes, and we're creating things in our mind before they happen. It's something that I just sort of summarized, and that could be good things, or it could be not so good things.
Can I visualize us going on a Joe Dispenza adventure?
Yeah. I mean, I was listening to Joe Dispenza on the walking meditations, and I imagined myself on Brighton Beach for some reason. I think it must have been one of his talks that he did and I was like one of the zombies just walking around doing walking meditation.
Amazing.
Meandering around Brighton. Absolutely.
Amazing. So yeah, a bit of a Saturday, spiritual Saturday session here on
absolutely.
the How to Win the Inner Game of High Performance. And so, yeah, the path of moving from ordinary to extraordinary. One of my insights that I've had is that's not necessarily extraordinary in the capital world's perspective. You know, extraordinary is an internal experience of the present moment, you know, and moving forward with an abundance of positive energy in the direction that we want to, you know. So it's creating extraordinary in the now. It's not extraordinary when we have achieved the level of success that we're looking for, you know. So I think that's very important to reflect on that, you know, because one of our primary foundation programs is our 12-week foundation coaching program called Ordinary to Extraordinary. And if you're say yes if you have done OTE. So yeah, so that's one of the foundational principles. But I think it was important for me to reflect on extraordinary is now, not next week or the week after. Yeah.
That chasing, that wanting, that needing. It's incorporating some delayed gratification so that you can enjoy the now. And
I just listened to JP's. Yeah, I listened to JP's 16 principles for wealth, and there's a balance, you know, and some people don't like the word balance. It's like all in or not in at all. But I think we have to calibrate and have to be really reflective on what we do choose to do, because there was one is the art of letting go. I think we could all do a bit more of letting go, which is one of the 16 principles. So yeah, the art of letting go, basically. I can't remember the other context of it. And we need, at the same time, we need to get shit done, hold on, move forward, like take responsibility, take ownership. You have to do both. You can't, well, I don't know. I might be wrong if anybody's on here that disagrees with me, because this is one of the things I rattle with, because for every great piece of motivational, inspirational advice, there is the opposite. And sometimes the opposite is good. So, you know, there was Tony Robbins that was like, had the yes community that was like a networking community around the UK where you could go to yes events. I think they could just say yes events. But a lot of people need to learn how to say no. So, you know, and maybe once you get there, they might teach you, you have to have the courage to say no to the things you don't want to do or don't want to sign up to. So just a really interesting play on our own inner game is that you have to consider both and make the best intuitive decision. Do I go harder or do I need to recalibrate? You know, and having a great community to call you to a higher version of yourself is an important piece of the jigsaw. Because, you know, sometimes we can't see for our own shit, for want for a better word. And we have to be called out and pulled forward because we've got things that are holding us back. So that was just a little share from my side, is that we live in a world of duality. There's always right and wrong. There's always fear and love, but we can calibrate to those two different extremes of, you know, to help us move forward in the direction that we want to.
And a useful tool that we present to our clients early on is the values assessment as well, where you can get in tune and aligned with your highest values, your highest priorities, the things that you hold most important. And when you do that, I find it's easier to say yes to the things you want to say yes to and no to the things in order to bring more yeses into your life. You know, when you say yes to something, you say no to something else. When you say no to something, you're saying yes to something else. That duality there. So if you can get aligned with values and carry those through, and there are many, many, many values that we all carry around, but there'll be 5, and we use 5 on your hand. Thank you for sharing that, Mark. That's really, really, really useful. Yes, you can download the values activity there, go through it, take your time. There'll be many iterations of this. This won't be the ultimate version. Do it once, do it twice, do it 3 times, and start to really question why the same words keep coming up.
So I think let's be.
I think we're on the 30 mark, aren't we?
Respectful of people's time. It's great to see you wherever you see us, on YouTube, on Facebook, on LinkedIn. It's great to see the comments coming in. Really appreciate that. And don't forget, we have the Mindset and Mental Performance Masterclass on the 22nd of June. 10 o'clock start, 4 o'clock, 4:30 finish, depending on how.
Yeah, 4 to 4:30. Yeah, see how long we can catch the TP for at the end. Would you mind sharing the link, Mark? I know it's probably the Bitly one with the logo on, but I don't think it's going to cause too much drama. Just in case anybody watching on
I'll
replay.
update the link.
Oh yeah, that would be amazing. Just pop it in the comments. You should have the new document. Yeah, we've got a bit of a telling off. Yeah, great start today, Debbie. Yeah, really nice. Nice for me as well, because I was having thoughts of a nice lay-in this morning, and then I thought, actually, I've got some stuff to do, and you know, this will be really beneficial for me. No, I was always going to be here, but yeah, it was a matter. How long I've been up before this was the question that I was having. How long do I want to be up before 8 o'clock? That's the question that's going on.
Yeah.
Go on. Tell me.
I thought I didn't sleep last night, but I did sleep because I've still got this excess energy pumping around my body. But I felt like I didn't sleep, but I used a new calm to. My readiness score was okay, and then I was like, I came downstairs, put my wheatgrass in the glass. I had a nice pear and a piece of fruit just to break my fast. And then I boiled some coffee up last night, some enema coffee. So I had a coffee enema this morning, and then got ready, had a shave. So this is what sort of a health optimization, high performance. So I thought one thing I want to do is just really detox my body to, you know, to really give it a massive reset, ready for some good food today.
I had a very different start to my day. I got out of bed at 7, had a shower, fed the guinea pigs, brought the laptop downstairs, and but I feel good. Yeah, I feel like I needed a bit more sleep last night or this morning, so I didn't set an alarm. I naturally wake up just before 6, just strangely every morning, you know, without fail, unless it's a weekday where I'm up a bit earlier. So yeah, that was good. Good start
Big
today.
reset
Thanks,
weekend,
mate.
brother. Yes. Have a wicked day.
Thank you so much, and thanks everybody who joined us. And if you're watching on replay, give it a hashtag replay. Keeps it up on the old algorithmics, and we hope to see everybody on the 22nd.
All right.